This podcast is a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro and is a production of VI Alliance, copyright 2019. And this chart-busting hit, Alone Leave Me, courtesy of New Threads, is available everywhere. As you know, traditionally, the director's cut appears on DVDs and gives you the inside scoop on the actors, the movie, and of course, the directorial process. EI Alliance, in association with Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro, is the first to create the author's cut. For the first time ever, you get to hear the who, what, where, when, why, and how the authors came up with what they wrote directly from the authors. This is revolutionary access to the creative energy and to the creative energy surrounding the authors. Please note, these conversations for the author's cut occurred in 2015 after the authors published Energetic Invocations, a Book of Vibrational Change. Back then, the original recordings were produced with an audio version of the book, read by the authors as well. All copyrights and disclaimers of the book apply to these podcasts. So enjoy as the authors discuss Energetic Invocations, a Book of Vibrational Change, also known as the Blue Book of Energy, and Energetic Invocations Series, a Book of Vibrational Change, Volumes 1 to 17, with Process This. Part 5, World. When do I measure time?
This is Julie Benetti.
This is Susan Barbaro.
And it's about time. We're at the, we're in the world. Yeah, we're here. We're here now, and we're looking at when do I measure time? And I know you're going to say this is one of my favorite chapters.
No, this is her
my favorite section. This, and I know balance is yours or most of it or whatever, but this is a kind of cool element because of course time is man-made. All time is relative, and if you're not here and now, not to quote other people or any other genre of any other belief or understanding or anything, but really, if you're not being where you are at the moment that you're where are you being?
Wow, did you get that? She blew through. So Julie is very much science oriented. She's very much, she really enjoys, and I've learned a lot from her on that regard. And the only thing I ever knew about time, no one can disagree with us. All there is, no matter what's going on in your life, whatever drama, issues, personal issues, work issues, health issues, whatever it is, right here and right this second is all there is. Right this second. And right this second, everything is okay. Everything is okay. I don't care what's going on. Right this second, if you just stop and just think of where you are right now, you could be sitting on a bus, you can be in a car, right this second, you are fine. And truth is, that's all there is right this immediate nanosecond. And if you're all right now, then you can be okay. I don't care what's going on. That I get.
And so the cool thing in relation to time being relative and all time existing at once, and however you want to say the past, present, future, and go into science, go into Einstein, go into that cool explanation about how Neville Goddard created health for people and with his imagination by utilizing time. I mean, time is a tool. Time is a pretty fun tool to utilize. And if you think about, we've done this sometimes. We've been in instances where we've been waiting or we've been trying to push time or make something advance happen or something like that. And whenever we're worrying or fearful or wondering or contemplating anything other than where we are, like you said, right in that moment, it's exhausting. And it seems like it's very prolonged.
You can't do anything about the past. I mean, you can't do anything about the future. I mean, unless you play with time, but what you have completely is right this immediate moment. Once you really get the gist of that, then I think you can start playing with time and going back. If you go back to who I am and some of the things that you were told, some of the things that you cleared about beliefs you had, you can even be more powerful in contemplation. Go back to that point, almost see yourself traveling in time, and you whisper in your yourself as a child, saying, you know what, don't worry about this. Right now, it feels like it's overwhelming, but you're going to be okay. Having had children, I hear them telling me things that might come up in life, and they think it's them. Oh my God, you don't understand. This is happening to me. And I don't minimize the impact it has on them, but what I try to remind them is that's not personal. I mean, you could have this conversation with any child and therefore any adult, that what's happened is if you take it personal, you lose it. And I, as a parent, can go back and say things to my kids to try to help them deal with whatever issues going on. And what I've learned, what kind of confirms what you're saying, Julie, is I healed a lot of myself, because as I had to really focus on bringing myself to that space of where they were and the pain that they felt, which was very real, I had to travel in my own time. And when I was that child who was bullied or made feel like I wasn't good enough, I didn't fit in, or a teacher said something to me that made me feel horrible, and sometimes you don't want to do it, so you tell your kids, leave, stop it, and it's not because you don't love them, it's because it's painful for you to go in that space. And I think one of the things that I did, because I had so many issues, my own issues, that I went into that space, and it helped me, I think, be a better parent, and I think that speaks to exactly what you're saying about Neville Goddard. I mean, I did that because I had to try. I wanted to help whomever I was talking to, and I really wanted to make a difference, and the only way I could do it was to access where they were. And of course, I had to do it through my own childhood. So is that something I believed I had to do, have these crazy things happen so I could access it? I don't know. But in doing that, I could now take that process and now do it in a different level to even go to other stuff that relates to nobody else but me, and go back in that time and try to heal myself. And that is really cool. That I never thought about until you really started talking about that there is an immense power. And you always know, people get caught up in, oh my God, if I do it, am I going to lose myself, or am I going to have a demon that jumps into my body? Oh, it's garbage. Because I know at this point, I know who I am. So now let me go back and wait a second, what did I think? That's a huge tool.
And yes, time is so helpful to categorize events and emotions and things that occur. And yet as a tool, you can also utilize it, not just to categorize, but to move you ahead, which is funny because you're just where you are, but you're still moving yourself ahead from that. It's such a valuable tool, and it's your choice as to what you're going to stick with experiencing. If you stay in the past and consistently, that's kind of odd to think of. Well, I'm just experiencing my past. So when you're right here, or you worry about the future. Oh my God, what am I going to do when I retire? Is that what you're doing right now, retiring?
So isn't that fascinating what we just described, and you described again with Neville going back in time and healing yourself? That's all awesome, okay? And then I'm going to sit back and say, as we have said, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with all that we've worked through and the process or whatever? And you know what? If that's the case, that we can go back and help our younger, pained self, well, why can't we open the door to our future self to come in and tell us, what you're going through is okay. It will be fine. Because wherever you are, again, here you are. And whatever happened in your past, it could have been incredibly painful, but here you are. And right now, all is fine. All is well. So your future self can say, in that space of your future you being in the moment where all is well, can come back to when you're at a point where you feel, I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to get through this? This pain is overwhelming. Open up to sensing your future self in that space of everything right now is okay, coming to you.
And so as all time is relative, it just opens you up to understanding the question of the chapter. If you're really aware of when do I measure time, that's priceless.
Part 5, World. How do I stay balanced in the real world?
And we're talking about how to stay balanced in the real world in harmony.
So this is my favorite chapter of the book. The world is about balance. And everything we're talking about is trying to strip you free of all the beliefs and thoughts that really kept you out of balance, and to work towards achieving balance. And also being an acupuncturist, everyone has different views. A balanced body, mind, and spirit is when yin and yang are in balance. I mean, we're constantly constantly moving. So instead of beating ourselves up because we're out of balance, well, we're always going to be out of balance. We're never going to be completely in balance. Yin and yang are never completely in balance. They work into one another, but it's in those imbalances that we get to work out more of the kinks. So if I'm going to use the vision of the sun rising and setting and then the moon coming out as yin and yang do, if I think of it as a circle, we're kind of always moving in and out of the circle. We're not in a complete circle. And each time we adjust, we have a little bit of an ability to try to bring ourselves back in alignment, yet always changing. And that's what I love about this chapter. This actually is the chapter that says, hey, it's okay that you're not in balance. You're never going to be in balance. This is not an end point. You don't read this book and, wow, I'm enlightened. Whatever it is you want to define it as, we are consistently a work in process. That's what life is. It's through change that we grow and learn, and we're supposed to do that. So I guess when I sit back and I say, damn, someone triggered me again, and I get mad, if I keep going back to that, there's something I still need to get. And it's not to beat myself up on, because I'm processed, and every now and then it gets triggered. Why is that? That's a part of this bigger lesson. When I'm triggered and I have a reaction that I'm saying, geez, that's not really my truth. I know the truth of this.
So for me, I'm also intrigued that balance and imbalance are the duality. I mean, that is so cool when you get to the awareness of that. In that statement, we say that you realize that it's natural for us to be out of balance. That makes so much sense when you can align with that. And that's where all the opportunities to learn and grow come from. And then when you understand, when you move to the different extremes, that's when you start to harmonize and you reach harmony.
At this point, it's part of the world. We're talking about time. We're talking about doing things differently and understanding balance from a different standpoint. And once you start integrating, of course, you're going to go right into truth and awareness.
About the Blue Book of Energy, Energetic Invocations, a Book of Vibrational Change, an Energetic Invocations series, a Book of Vibrational Change, volumes 1 to 17 with Process This.
And, the last part of this is really about the book, what our hopes are, why we did it. I guess what's the practical aspect of the book, because we wrote the book because, as we said, that there was a need that we had. We'd done a lot of research. We looked at a lot of things. We looked at the practical side of things. We looked at more the energetic side of things. We said this throughout different parts, that we were trying to make sense of what made no sense. And, you do all of this. And I guess the part that we're sharing is we read the book. We processed the book. We put the book together. And where are our lives? This isn't about us. It's actually taking all of this and bringing it into a practical sense. We've lived through all of this as we went through each part of it. We can talk extensively because we experienced it. We experienced who I am. We went through our journey. We went into expertise. We, are still constantly, in some respects, defining expertise. Currency, that was a riot. Had a lot of fun with that one, let me tell you.
Duked it out on that one.
And, at this point, I look back over this part of the journey, and I look at a lot of people who stepped in to play roles to help us define some of this. And, we could get angry about it. We could be critical, and I've gotten to a point where I can sit back and say, you know what, I have gratitude they were there. It doesn't mean I want them back there. It doesn't mean I need to go back now and tell them, oh, thank you for what you did, but I can move on to other places knowing that they were there to help us.
And with that awareness of what we were processing and what we were doing, we took the lead in recognizing that it wasn't story, but there was something we were fleshing out. And these people were showing up, which was very cool, in different denominations and different characters. And we were taking the responsibility to own our own lives and our own progression through our lives and our own truth in our own lives, to understand what was going on and to look for the truth of what was occurring rather than just the story and to play into drama.
And sometimes it was very difficult. This is an amazing journey. And when you get through a lot of it, everything changes. But again, we say, I think in the first chapter, that you're going to reread many of these chapters. You're going to revisit the information because you're going to need to. Because now as you start working, you're going to need to go back and you're going to want to look at it again and revisit it, because it's almost like going back, and it's like being the fighter, right? You're out there and you have your trainer that you go back and he's like, all right, you're doing good. You're doing okay. Yeah, you got beaten up a little bit. You got to get back out there though. Come on, you can do it. And I think that's worth saying, because there are times that we went through it, and I have to say, I I'm like, what the heck? I've had it. I'm done. And I think I want to say that because nobody else says that. Everyone says, oh, it's easy. The answer's in you. And yes, that's all truth. But you're going to feel certain things and you're going to experience, and people are going to tell you you're wrong, and people are going to tell you don't fit in, and until you finally embrace that's true. I don't fit in. Nobody fits in. No one's meant to fit in. We're all meant to be individuals. And if we're all individuals, this place becomes a beautiful place. And there's no bullying. There's no lack. And if you can embrace that you don't fit in, you understand you're a greater part of something, and that's okay. You know, when we were talking about what do we want to say, I think that's it. You're not supposed to fit in. And all these things are people saying to you, you're supposed to fit in. Because you're supposed to be the one that we're going to, bully, or you're going to be the one that we're going to tell you this is who you are, and you're responsible for doing this, and we have expectations of you. And I'm here to tell you, you're not supposed to fit in. And that does not excuse you from having inappropriate behavior towards another person. That doesn't mean you can lash out. What that means is you don't use your energy to lash out at another person or upon yourself. You take that and you empower yourself to say, that's right. I don't fit in. I am supposed to be who I am, and I am going to embrace it.
And it's about time that there was the expression that it's okay if you don't fit in. It's not this constant struggle to fit in and change for what other people want.
So I go
and that's
step
not your
further.
truth.
Not only is it okay not to fit in, I'm telling you, you are not supposed to fit in. That is not for your highest and best, nor is it for the benefit of this planet or your fellow human beings.
So, with that said, I want to backpedal a little bit and get to the truth of the fact that you have to work to that truth for yourself. Okay, we're not telling you as gurus. We're not telling you because we know the way it is. We're telling you because guess what? We went through the process of this book. We could have just done it and not written a book.
Right.
We wouldn't have known anything about this. We wouldn't have shared anything. Instead, I like to write. We have great conversations together. We documented stuff. We looked at the science. We looked at all the path of what we went through. And it was the kind of thing that we wanted to read that would help us process what we were going through. And there are times I open it up and reflect on things.
At this point, the important thing is that you're not supposed to fit in. You're meant to be who you are. Get rid of all the expectations and obligations that people have thrown upon you. However, you are still responsible for what you say and what you do. This is not a calling card to say, hey, I can go and tell people off, or I can go after someone and yell at them or anything. That is, once again, you haven't done the work. But you take that energy and you use it to empower who you really are. And if everybody did that, I want to see other people empowered, strong, powerful, doing things, because there are so many people out there that can do things I can't do. I find fascinating the talents of people. And if you don't go with your talent, but you fit in, or you take what you can do and you mold it to something that is acceptable, then I think things are lost.
I think when you take what you said before and you bring that into an environment, in a space, it changes everything. It changes everything. When it's not a whole bunch of people just trying to fit in to what? It creates a whole different space of cool individuality with all the things that you stressed about, not going to the bad extreme of it, but going to the empowering extreme of it.
So understand you're a greater part of something, and we wish you well on your journey. Have fun.
Have fun.
Thank you for listening to this production from EI Alliance. Check out our Amazon authors pages for books and podcasts. Find New Threads music and their latest album on iTunes, Spotify, and newthreads.us.